Hello, franchise friends. I hope you are well. I am not Harvey Tuck. I'm Simon Wise, and Harvey is having some technical problems, so I'm stepping in for him until he has a chance to join us. But you're very welcome. Welcome to Franchising Brand Stories, and I have a wonderful guest for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, here is...
It's Sharon Corley from Conexus Tuition.
Hello, Sharon. How are you doing today?
Well, I was really calm and chilled until we went backstage before it all started, and I watched Harvey starting sweating under his hat. My God.
Yeah, I think his signal was a bit rubbish, or he just didn't have the energy to keep pedaling, and suddenly something went a bit wrong. But listen, we are live. This is authentic, it's live, and it's lovely. And, you know, this is why we do what we do. So let's get on with the story, shall we?
Okie dokie. What do you want to know?
Okay, here we go. So the first thing I want to find out is we're gonna start with chapter 1 and really get a bit of a background to what's happening at the moment. But before we do, tell me, what is Connexus Tuition? What do you do?
Okay. So Connexus Tuition is a network of ex-teachers. Our head office team are all ex-teachers. Our franchisees are all ex-teachers. And we are the people who have, in a variety of different ways, hemorrhaged out of the wonderful world of education and have taken all the glorious bits that we loved, the vocation, the teaching, working with kids, and we are carving our way in the world of education and tuition as a franchise network, serving schools, kids, parents, all of those people who have an absolute fear of failure. Failure when it comes to exams, failure when it comes to next steps. So we're a wonderful, wonderful network of people who lead from the heart, with the skill set of the mind, and do the very best of both worlds, which is keep that teaching, keep that tutoring, but at the same time have some real fun in the world of business.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So why do teachers leave the profession? I mean,
how long have you got? How long have you got? In a different world, just stepping slightly out of the world of franchising, myself and the COO, Sarah Dunwood at Connexus, during lockdown, we started a Facebook group, Simon, called Life After Teaching, Exit the Classroom and Thrive.
Yeah.
And we thought, do you know what? We'll hold some space during lockdown for teachers who've left the classroom or are struggling. And as of yesterday, we have 185,000 members of that Facebook group who've clicked on a group name and joined Life After Teaching. We've got an education crisis. Teachers leave teaching for a whole host of reasons, but fundamentally the one that underpins... Crikey, I'm on my soapbox already. You've only asked me one question. They leave because our system's broken. It's failing them and it's failing the kids, which is why to then emerge in the world of franchising with a solution that still fits all of those hopes and dreams has been fantastic for us. It's been really special.
That's brilliant. On one hand, it's so sad, but equally, you know, it's showing that the teachers, you know, the people that work with you have got a real passion for education, and they don't want to leave that behind, but they just want an environment where they can look after themselves a bit better, I guess, and work hard and achieve those wonderful things that you get when you're running your own business.
You are never going to get a work ethic in some respects that matches a teacher. 80 hours a week, paid for 39 a week.
Yeah.
That passion that drives them, call it guilt as well, if you want, that makes them put those kids first. Well, you imagine harnessing that in a business owner.
Yeah. No, listen, that's fantastic. And I'm so pleased they've found a home and somewhere where they can continue to do what they love. You know, this is chapter 1, and we're all about, you know, what the next question for me really is, I mean, where are you at today? And tell me a bit about the franchise, where it's at today in terms of numbers, how many franchisees you've got, where you can be found.
Where we are today, we've got 30 franchisees. Our head office team is in Warrington, but we've got a strong network, a really, really strong network who are operate. They've moved on a bit, really. They're not just doing after school tuition and one-to-one. We've got some real disruptors in the world of education. And they're working in schools. They're working with alternative provision, because where we are today, Connexus was incredibly fortunate, Simon, because during COVID, the government pumped billions into the national tutoring programme. And it really redefined the word of tuition where schools were concerned. And Tim Morris has just popped up, one of my heroes. I'll tell you why. I mean, he cuts a good figure in a dinner jacket. You know what I mean? Might be a bit of fangirling where that's concerned. But Tim Morris sits in both worlds as well, the tutoring world and the world of tuition from Tutor Doctor. But what Conexus Tuition did in 2020, we became one of the first 27 providers that worked with the government for the National Tutoring Programme. Okay. So we watched the word tuition go from being almost like an outlaw within schools. You don't need tutoring. Our teachers do perfectly well. Tutors were kept at arm's length. Yeah. Schools didn't work with them. Now schools want to work with tutors. Good. It's been a real win from the COVID era for the tuition world.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Well, listen, we're a fully interactive, audience-driven show, so let's have a look at some questions that are coming in here. And you mentioned Tim, and he's asked a question here, Sharon. So you mentioned that Connexus works with schools. Are you finding this is a growing part of the business?
100%. 100%. And that's where it's really important for the franchise model and for teachers and connections. We have work with schools. We have work with what we call alternative provision for children who are not accessing mainstream schooling. And then we have the world of the home education community. It's changing. Yeah. Now, if you've got a team of franchisees who are local to their area, who've done 15 years in the school system, who've got connections, who are known, in answer to your question, Tim, it is a growing part of the business. But where there is a flip side to that, there's not a national overarching way of working with schools. It's done on individual basis with multi-academy trusts. So it isn't easy in a sense to just go in as a brand and offer yourself to all schools. You almost have to be finding your way in through back doors and connections. So it's not as easy as you think in some respects, but it's completely doable if you know the right people.
Yeah, good. I mean, that's encouraging that from a franchisee's point of view, in terms of where's the business going to come 100%. From, which is always the main worry, I guess. It's nice to know that there are different streams and different avenues one can go down as well. Thanks very much for that, Sharon. Look, we've got another question here, or delighted to welcome Julie Waits, and she says that the tuition sector is a great area for franchising, such a great fit for anyone from an education background. Yeah, absolutely.
And I would say to Julie as well, you're absolutely spot on. Because one of the things that makes my heart break more than anything is when I hear this expression, what can I do next? I'm just a teacher. Whew. And that is a real mindset issue for people in the classroom looking to come out. I'm just a teacher. I want to jump across the screen and slap them. Just a teacher. Have you any idea what skill set you have? But this is where franchising becomes the sweetest of sweet spots for that teacher.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that. Listen, here's a great comment from Kevin Wren. He says, years of experience make us partners with schools rather than just another company. people driven. That pretty much says it all, doesn't it?
100%. And he is so right, because let me go back to telling you, it's only been since 2020 where schools have moved from the expression intervention to tuition. There's a trust element where schools are concerned to outsourcing to the private sector. So what better way to have as a conduit a teacher at the helm of that business? Now, that's not to say that the tuition franchising business doesn't lend itself beautifully to somebody who is traditionally a business owner with a non-education background. You've got the right team around you. You can sit strategically at the helm of a tuition business. Doesn't just have to be for teachers.
Yeah.
I believe it helps.
Yeah.
Massively believe it helps.
Okay. Actually, can I just so that's really important, actually, because that's a really sort of, the big question, isn't it? So presumably teachers can run a Conexus franchise, a tuition franchise, in an owner-operator model.
100%.
But you can also open it up as a management franchise as well. There's
Now,
somebody from outside
our franchisees, it's an interesting one that you've done that. There is an element of owner-operator with Connexus. But let me take you back to get you to understand what makes us really good at what we do. Traditionally, a tutor is considered somebody one-to-one who goes into homes or runs their business as an owner-operator. What I did was I built a gang around me. I'm English, GCSE English teacher for years. That's my passion. That's my joy. I still do it 4 nights a week. Of course I do. Nobody teaches Macbeth like me. And very quickly, I realised that my parents and pupils needed maths and science and primary in 11 plus. So early doors, I built a team around me. So actually, on a Monday night, whilst I'm in the glamour of Lim Rugby Club, that is a smell that will never leave you from those changing rooms as you walk past the front door. I am operating in a rugby club with a team of some of the most talented maths, English, science, primary tutors around me. Monday night, brilliant. But at that same 2 hours, I've got another class going on in the north of Warrington. I've got another class going on in Newtonley Willows. I've got a class going on in Wisterson. The scalability within our Connexus isn't that it's an owner operator and a sole trader. You can scale. So eventually, you don't even have to have a specialism to be that tutor tutoring. You've built scalable teams around you on a group tuition basis. Then, in the daytime, we have tutors going into schools delivering tuition. So our franchisees have got gangs. And guess where they get them from? Their colleagues who they've worked with, who love teaching but want to come out of teaching. So it's this beautiful evolving model based around people who are passionate about education. We've got a great tutors network because we know what we're doing. That's
fantastic. And you very kindly segued into chapter 2 there, Sharon. Thank you so much.
It's all right. That's the English teacher for you.
What I'm interested to know is, let's look back. Go back to when it all started for you. So you made a decision. What, you just had enough of teaching? You were fed up with it.
Oh no! I was ousted out of teaching.
Okay.
I was one of those. We refer to them in our world as pit ponies. Right. Okay, we have a pit pony podcast ourselves where we interview ex-teachers. If you can imagine, I started school at the age of 4. I went right the way through to 18, straight into university, straight into teaching. I am a pit pony. You know what a pit pony is?
Yeah, I had one for dinner last night.
That's so bad. I love it. Oh, now I know we can do gallows humour. I'll tell you about the last time I met Harvey when we were absolutely 3 parts legless on a balcony in London, but that's a story for another day. So I was a pit pony. All I'd ever known was education. And at the age of 41, I found myself in an incredibly toxic school environment. So I hemorrhaged out of the classroom. It wasn't a planned exit. I hadn't staged it over a period of time. And when I did leave, my marriage collapsed at the same time. So in 2012, I found myself with no job, on my own with 2 kids, a repossession. I started the world of tutoring as a real survival kit because I had one thing I knew I could leverage, which was my ability to teach English language. So it was from that necessity, that urgency, and that desire to feed the kids that I began tutoring around my kitchen table, doing what I knew best. £25 an hour, I'll give you everything you need to know to pass this exam.
Yeah.
And it literally started envelopes at the door, changing money. I've no change. Can I owe you a £5 next week? There was no business strategy. There was no plan. My business happened by complete accident. However, what it did tell me in 2012 was, and it's still as relevant today in 2020, there is a demand for tuition.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. What a story. What a story. It's fantastic. Perseverance, courage, passion, determination.
Oh, it was taking it from the kitchen table because I started grouping them. So I've always done group tuition. I was ahead of the curve when it came to that, not one-to-one. And then I realised that as these kids were leaving, they were like, see, Sharon, where are you off to now, love? We're going to our maths tutor. All right. So instead of paying me £25 to sit around my table, I got hold of a really talented, burnt out ex-head of maths and went, right, I'm going to knock on Father Michael's door at Lynn Parish Church because he has got a tin hut at the side of it, but it was in walking distance from the kids' schools. And for £8 for 2 hours, me and this maths tutor had 12 kids. We swapped halfway through. They still paid me £25, but they got 2 hours in a group of English and maths. And I am telling you, Simon, before I knew it, I couldn't get enough tutors, enough kids. And that was the original model. And that's still our core model. However, as time's gone on, you're now running your core classes. We're doing one-to-one. The online business is huge. God, we didn't even have online when I started. Work with schools, alternative provision, the home ed community. Because I'm going to let you into a secret. My franchisees overtook me with their ideas. They were more creative. They would come knocking on our door saying, I've got an opportunity here. What do you think about working within children's homes? Could it work? Yeah, I'd never thought about it. And that's when it became a really beautiful two-way relationship. This is the original idea. We've got the compliance, the safeguarding, the onboarding systems, the training. But these guys are leapfrogging over me now.
Well, that's the beauty of the franchise network, isn't it? You know, you've both sort of feed off each other. And again, that leads us nicely into franchising. I mean, why do you think franchising has been so successful for you in growing this business?
I knew, even when I was muddling, taking envelopes at doors, what had happened with me, Simon, is my sister's a franchisee.
Right.
And my sister has been a Stagecoach franchisee since about 2006. She's one of the longest serving ones in St Helens. And when I'd hemorrhaged out of the classroom on a Saturday morning, I used to go and sit with her in one of her Stagecoach classes in Ashton. And I didn't really understand it at that point. But she talked to me about being a franchisee. So I skipped a beat deciding to be a franchisor, because when people are deciding to be a franchisor with a founding business, they find themselves in this pain point. No one can do it as good as me. How can I make sure my brand's not going to come under disrepute? Now, I watched a brilliant franchisee in my sister who went, it's my business. I am the owner of Stagecoach St Helens, but head office is brilliant in supporting me. I watched her be the ambassador for her business, take ownership. So I never went through that pain point of, what if the franchisees cock it up? Because I'd seen it working brilliantly. So I knew at that point, I didn't want to run branches and have a managed model. I'd seen it live, 3D. I'd seen how powerful a franchisee could be, because here's the interesting one. Teachers have been employees. They've had the passion sucked out of them. Okay. If I put a branch manager in who was a teacher, they would never develop the way they would if it was their own business. So I'm watching these people come out and they're developing beyond their wildest dreams. I don't think they would have been had I have employed them to manage Connexus Tuition Canary Wharf or Connexus Tuition Preston. Let them own it. Different ball game.
Yeah.
So that's why it worked with me, because I'd seen proof before I even started.
It's a magic ingredient, isn't it? You know, skin in the game, whatever you want to call it, it's their own business. You know, that's
100%
drives and everything else. So, I mean, you know, once you decided to go down the route of franchising, what steps did you take to actually build the infrastructure? Did you take professional advice? I mean, tell us a bit about your journey in building the franchise.
So I took a lot of early doors. I still take advice now. We always have consultants, coaches, everything for every stage of the journey. So I worked with franchise coaches. I so many local specialists in marketing, onboarding. One of the things I did that was so instrumental, our accountants, Walker Begley, Phil Wellesby, so important in our network. He's our chief finance officer. He took me from a woman sat opposite him in accounts office with shoe boxes of receipts and opening my A4 pad. And at the top of it, I used to write owings. So before I'd even started for a half term, I had to write down what kids and parents owed me what money. I started surrounding myself with people who were so much more experienced than me. Finances, compliance, safeguarding. So I built that team around me from the very, very early doors. I didn't run as a one-woman band ever. As a franchisor, I have never run it on my own.
Fantastic. And that support infrastructure is still in there today for your franchisees as well, I would imagine.
100%. So our head office team, as I say, we're ex-teachers, but there are 5 of us full-time at head office. My right-hand woman is Sarah Dunwood. Operations. We have a brilliant online platform for our franchisees. We use Mighty Networks. We have the evergreen training modules. We have the in-person training. We have the regular droppings and mentoring meetings. We have a knowledge base with over 1,000 articles on it for compliance, for policies, for everything they need. Because what we need to remember at this point is we're dealing with kids. We are dealing with vulnerable young people. We're dealing with children. Safeguarding has to be at the heart of what we do.
Yeah.
So we still have everything they need. And if we've not got it, we'll find it and do it.
Yeah.
But the support that sits around it is the one thing that teacher needs when they are deciding to come with us, because they can refer a safeguarding incident.
Yeah.
They can go to their deputy head. You step out into that world, you need that. You absolutely need that. So, yeah, in answer to your question, I built it with experts and I've continued to keep those experts around me.
Brilliant. No, that's fantastic. And obviously the franchisees will continue to benefit from that as well. Let's have a look at the chat, because there was a lovely question in here from Tim. Just asked us a question here as well. He said, do the franchisees have the opportunity to own multiple territories when the time is right 100%. For them and for
we've
you?
Got that. You'll have noticed the name Kevin Wren. He's a multi-unit owner. Yeah. He's practically annexing the whole of the northwest of England at the moment. There's no stopping that man. What we've also had, which is lovely, we've had franchisees who've gone into partnership with each other. They met as strangers and they've taken a territory that bridges theirs.
Yeah,
absolutely, when the time is right. And it's about knowing when expansion is right for our franchisees, because there is such a rich field to mine. Because one of the things we do, Simon, is we have an exclusive trading territory. So you cannot trade as a class anywhere other than your postcoded area, but you can take children from anywhere. So if you've got a kid who doesn't live in your postcode but stays with their dad on a Thursday night so can come to one of your classes, we never exclude children. It is only the trading territory. And then, of course, online, well, the world's your oyster for that, particularly in the foreign market. So it's when they've exhausted their footprint for trading, they need more land. That's when we know the time's right.
Okay, good stuff. Excellent. I tell you what, I'd be really interested to find out here, because we've talked quite a lot of things, but what I'm hoping for is that there may be somebody watching the show that thinks, or a teacher thinks, you know what, this sounds fantastic, and I really like to, maybe get in touch with you and reach out and discover more about the Conexus Tuition franchise. But broadening it out, what does that franchisee prospect journey look like? So somebody's interested in working with you. Talk me through the process. How do you get to know them? How do you walk them through the whole process?
I think the process begins before they've even reached out.
Right.
Best piece of advice I could give anybody who is thinking of a franchise with us or a franchise with anyone else is stalk. You should be reaching out to a franchisor having done your homework. And in a world of social media, and particularly in the world of the Pit Pony, Life After Teaching, my Facebook, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, and the other franchisees, you should be gathering the information you need at the start of your decision-making process before you've even booked in a discovery call with me. One of the things that concerns me the most is when a prospective franchisee books a call and goes, so can you tell me what this is about? Because I don't really, no, that's not my job.
Yeah.
I am not here to explain to you what is out there through a prospectus, through a website. If you are thinking of coming on board with Connexus, go on a quest beforehand, because you should, in theory, be deselecting before you've even come on a call, because that's savvy business making decisions. Okay? Never get on a call and not know how much it costs. Never get on a call and not know the basic questions that you need answering. And then when you do, we start to talk. We start with what I call a coffee and chat. Okay? And that can be done on Zoom. And that's when I know that I've got somebody in front of me who has done all of those things, has got a real rationale for why they want to start a business, and importantly, a franchise. And then, and only then, do we start to explore the coming on board. And it is the usual user journey. They are invited up to head office. We map their territory. We get to look at who they are, what their values are, and they do the same for us. We then have a very, very robust FIM meeting with Sarah Dunwood. I think it's a 51-page document where we outline, we make them read the side effects of taking paracetamol. We make them read the contract for their mobile phone, signing off after every single section, sitting behind a confidential, a real looking under the hood of our business. We do the same with the franchise agreement as well. I don't want people who see us as a quick win out of teaching. We are not the savior of your universe. I would do it in Life After Teaching, but not when you want to come into business with us. And then when they do come through the door, that's when the magic starts. They're up at head office for the training. They have access to all of our training suites. They are mentored. They are handheld until we're ready to cut those toddling reins. And then off they go into the ether and come back 6 months later and school us with how to do business. What we love. But it's it doesn't have to be lengthy. It doesn't have to be 6 months, but there needs to be 6 months worth of work done behind it, because you're not wandering in one day like it's Sunday afternoon and you're going looking at a car. Okay? Don't tire kicking in this day and age in business in this economic environment is not where you should be, because it is a tough world out there. It's not as easy as people often project on social media.
Yeah. Okay. So it's very much it's a two-way process, isn't it? You know, you've got certain expectations about when people come to you.
Yeah.
And then you obviously do your own due diligence and talk them through it and everything else. I mean, what about the training? How was the initial training? What does that look like and how long does that take?
Okay, so we do one-to-one initial training at head office for 2 days. Okay, bespoke to their business, because we can't do it. We used to do it in a group in the past when the model was pretty much replicable. Yeah. So we get someone down 2 days at head office in Warrington. Okay. They have to put the big coat on because it's normally quite cold, and accept that the majority of our catering is potato based. And then what we do is we build their business with them. We start to plan what they want their Connexus to look like. So the last franchisee we worked with, he's got a real passion for the home education community. We want to start him to build his core classes. So we worked individually with him. Then they leave with checklists, flight plans, the whole nine, the real paint by numbers stuff that they need. And then they enter into our network on Mighty Networks, where they then have access to the peer support of the people who've walked before them. Yeah. They have our training modules. They have our knowledge base, Google Connexus. If you type into our knowledge base, we've pretty much got it now that there's not a question that can't be answered. Yeah. And if you still need support after that, you put a ticket into head office and we're on a Zoom call with you.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I'm going to put a comment up because this completely validates what you've just said. Paul White, trust between the franchisees too. I'm new and everybody has been so helpful and supportive, so it feels like a proper team. Isn't that fantastic?
Brilliant. It's absolutely superb, because let's go with what we know about franchising. Getting the right franchisee is brilliant. It takes work. Yeah. There's effort involved. You can triple that if you've got the wrong one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And here's Paul. I mean, the process for me felt very much working together to see if we were a good fit for each other. And it was me checking Connexus as well as them checking me. Really supportive. Yeah, I mean, listen, that's what good ethical franchising is all about, isn't it? It's about building and seeing if there is the basis for a mutual beneficial relationship, business relationship, and you can only do that by getting to know people. And I think that's fantastic. Listen, okay, fantastic. Let me just see. I just want to move this on a little bit. We've talked a hell of a lot about the process and the type of individuals that you have coming into the franchise. What I want to do, I mean, this might seem a silly question, but I always like to get a flavour for what does a typical day in the life of a Connexus franchisee look like? You know, from getting up in the morning to going to bed at night, without the detail, of course. But what is a typical day? I mean, you know,
I don't think I can give you a typical day because we don't have a typical franchisees. But what I can, the starting point is some of our franchisees are still working part-time as teachers.
Right. Okay.
Some of our franchisees are currently working full-time as teachers, and their franchise is being built as their exit strategy. Some of our franchisees are completely in their own business. So I'm going to answer your question in a different way.
Yeah.
This is the power of having a franchise. The question is back to the franchisee. What do you want your typical working day to look like? And let's start with that. And if it isn't, what can we do to get you there? What can you do? Because it's very difficult, particularly when you are an ex-teacher or a business owner. By definition, we are workaholics. We graft. Sometimes we only think a typical day should be a 17-hour working day. And one of the things we do with our franchisees is we get to the heart of their North Star. What are you working towards? What do you want your business to leverage you? Okay. And then in that discussion, your typical working day could include I want to go to the gym every day. I want to walk my dog. That's a non-negotiable. I want to pick up my children from school. I want to go and watch the sports day. I want to play darts on a Monday night with my... We can build your typical day if you're clear on what you want it to look like.
Fantastic. Tell me a bit about some of the characters you've got in your network.
Oh God, where do I start?
Where
do I start? They're all characters. So straight away, I think you have to be a special kind of person to decide you want to stand in front of 30 children every day and perform. So we have a variety of different characters. I'm going to name and shame. I'm going to tell you about Barry Sherry. Barry Sherry in Oldham. We love Barry. Barry is a fantastic... The reason he's called Barry, I'll tell you this for a start, this will give you a flavour of him, is because he's the 7th son. And by the time he was born, his mother couldn't be bothered thinking of what his name should be, asked his brothers what they wanted to call the kid, and Barry Sheen was famous at the time. So Barry Sherry was named by his brothers after Barry Sheen. Do I need to do any more? Okay, do I need to do any more? Pauline Suarez. You've seen her name pop up. Her name is Pauline Suarez. She's smashing it in Canary Wharf. We were at a franchisee's wedding on Sunday. She's also known as Paulina Fandango. Okay? We have Wes Fandango, Sharona Fandango. So you can imagine some of the characters we're with. Kevin Wren. Oh, the man is a million miles an hour. Sharon, I've had an idea. What do you think about this? Right. What do you think about this? Kevin, calm down. I need a coffee before you meet me in the morning. He's a huge Liverpool. He runs busloads of Liverpool fans, okay, going to the matches at Anfield. So on the one hand, this businessman who's in and out of his... on these coaches corralling these drunken Liverpool fans is then the following day shaking hands with a head teacher, telling him his kids are safe in his hands. We've got the likes of Joe Askew in Essex, the most unassuming woman you could ever meet in your life. Honestly, smashing it down there with alternative provision. She's a preferred provider in the council. You put her in an ABBA concert, okay? Joe likes to dress. They went once to some ABBA gig and they walked in and realised no one had dressed up. So lose the wig, Joe. We've overdone it. You've got ABBA fans. We've got Vic and Karen who dress up in purple tutus and do park runs, okay? We've got Laura McGee. Our franchisees are just such a rich body.
That really comes across as well. I mean, it sounds like a great fun network.
Oh, I've just seen Richard Wheat pop up. So Richard and his wife Fiona, we call them the Wheatos. All right. So the Wheatos are fantastic as a team of people. Hello, Richard Wheat, if you saw him walking down the street, one of the best dancers I've ever seen on a dance floor ever. We had a drag act at one of our conferences the other year. Couldn't get him off the dance floor. Honestly, you'll never know.
Brilliant. It sounds like you have a lot of fun there, Sharon.
We do.
Work hard and play hard, I think, is the summary of that one. Listen, that's fantastic. Yeah. We're coming to the end of sort of chapter 2 now, and you've given us a really good flavour of the network, the characters, and what's involved in the franchising process. And what's come across really also, I'll be honest, is your passion for franchising as well. And I think that's really, really important alongside what you do, in tutoring is franchising. And franchising, as we all know, it's very good at changing people's lives and life-changing stories. And really, and this is for Harvey, because this is his favourite question. But does anything spring to mind? Tell us about a life-changing story, how an interaction that you've had, whether it be with a franchisee or a pupil, has changed their life for the better.
I'm going to, and it's not just one, it applies to a few of our franchisees. And I'm referring back to something I alluded to very, very briefly. I told you I had a repossession, okay? When you lose your home and you are in rented accommodation, I know that if we were in France or European countries or even down south, renting is perfectly acceptable.
Mm.
But there's something about the franchisees I'm thinking about who didn't want to be in rented accommodation, and neither did I. So early doors, my business bought me my house. Okay. Got me back on the mortgage ladder.
Mm.
And that has happened to at least 4 or 5 of our franchisees. Their businesses have enabled them to come out of renting and buy a house. Now, to some, that might not seem, it's a material, life-changing issue. So we always like the spiritual stories, where they've cured the blind and that kind of thing. But sometimes just being able to say, this key in my hand is to my house. And when I have had those moments with the franchisees who've done it, it is actually one of the times where I find myself speechless because I know how much that means to them.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, isn't it? And that's life changing. That's a legacy that you're building, isn't it?
100%.
For your future and everything else. But okay, there's some great comments coming in here, Mandy.
Mandy Broomhead, what a wonderful friend of Connexus. Honestly, she has a huge 11 plus tuition business, Heckman White. She is fantastic. She has worked with our franchisees, providing curriculums for them to go and teach 11 plus. If you ever want to find the true embodiment of collaborative, not competitive, it's Mandy Broomhead. Honestly, she is everything we want to work with when we bring, when you're talking about outsourcing, that's the kind of woman you want to work with.
Yeah.
Collaborative, not and she's a tutoring business.
Fantastic.
That's what we want. Mandy Barbados Broomhead. That's what we call her at head office.
Have you got nicknames for all your franchises?
100%. I'll tell you about the time we met Harvey. Honest, we were at the Elite Franchise Awards, right? I'll segue slightly. So for the first time ever, we enter, we win an award. So Sarah Dunwood says to me, right, we're in the top 100, so we're going to a big dinner dance, a big awards ceremony in London. So the franchisees, ourselves from head office, we go up to the big smoke. I nearly dropped cork leg at the bar when I got a round in. Oh my God. And then what happened was when we went to the big round table that we sat on, there was a load of free wine on the table, these big ice buckets. And about 3 or 4 of the people around the table didn't drink. Well, it would be rude, would it not? So I said to Sarah, there's no way we've won a special award because they've sat us right at the back. I got well oiled. Well oiled. Halfway through the night, I could feel my ankles swelling, so I kicked my shoes off. Drinking away, we're having a laugh. Next thing, they announced that Conexus Tuition Franchising has won the Inclusion and Diversity Award.
Wow.
And I know, which in and of itself was amazing. I'll tell you about that after. But I am making my way through 1,000 people. I can barely see. I've got no shoes on. I've not prepared a speech. And all of a sudden, I'm up on stage. I end up propositioning Ryan Armitage live from the stage. And I think I use this expression. I've just spotted Ryan Armitage in the audience. He's not my type, but let's be fair, the night's young.
Sharon, I've got a surprise for you. We've actually got footage from that evening.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I have gone round and I've sent Sarah Dunwood out to buy all footage. So if anyone's got any footage, we've got a pot of money and we will come and pay for it. And then we met Harvey. Okay. We end up in a rooftop bar, right, in this big hotel because we need to get as far away as possible because my head office team, we know the score. We've drank all the wine. Have you ever heard of a booze brolly?
No.
Oh, my God, you've never lived. It's an umbrella, But instead of opening it, you screw the top off the umbrella and you filled it with drink.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So head office, never underprepared. Tim Morris, oh my God, Tim, don't say you're an eyewitness. We introduce Harvey to the booze brolly. So we get up there, we get a round of soft drinks. With the untrained eye, the staff must have been going, how are they ending up sliding down walls here, dancing barefoot, and they're on Diet Coke? We got absolutely plastered. And it was at that point that the man in the hat went, you need to come on my podcast. I agreed to it under the influence of alcohol, and that's why I'm here now today.
Oh, brilliant. Well,
Manipulated.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Sharon.
I know. And where is he? He's probably got hangover. That's what's up with him.
I don't know about that. But listen, that's fantastic. Do you know what? Your enthusiasm and your chutzpah, as we would say, really shines through, and I think that's a testament to your success as well. Look, I just want to get to we're running out of time, which is such a shame because I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours. But one of the things I really want to find out about, and this is important because somebody looking at this, maybe hopefully they're interested in Connexus, but it's not just about what's happening now. It's about what exciting plans are happening in the future as well for the business and the network. So can you share some of that with us today and maybe give us the franchising brand stories exclusive as well?
So I think where we are, you use chapters, I use eras or epochs.
Right.
And I think it's so important when you're in business, and particularly your franchisor, there isn't a start and a destination. It's an ongoing, evolving project. And where I am at the moment, I'm doing some real navel gazing and reflection with a business coach to really connect to what is, I think, going to be the legacy piece of Connexus. Okay, so that's what I'm doing at the moment. And I'm going to bring together the two worlds. Our education system is fundamentally broken. We have nearly 200,000 children not accessing mainstream education and opting out of those factories that house 3,000 children a day between the ages of between 8:30 in the morning and 3:10 in the afternoon. We're moving away from 30 children in a classroom being taught a curriculum that is so outdated it's untrue. We're teaching content, not skills. I think we are on the cusp of real disruption within education. I think we are moving away from that straitjacketed system that does not suit all. It suits some. We have made such headway with regard to neurodiversity and the understanding of individuals' children's needs. All of that brought in with the power of social media. Okay, so there's been lots of huge changes, I'd say even in the last 5 years. Conexus Tuition is going to be at the heart of the reshaping of education. You may look me up in a couple of years' time and we've changed and rebranded to Conexus Education Services. Because tuition in and of itself, I don't even think possibly begins to capture the impact we're going to have. I want those Barrys and Kevins and Paulinas that we laughed about to be at the heart with their businesses of reshaping the way in which we teach children. And I think that's the work that we're doing at the moment. So I can't give you an exclusive that we're launching a special offer or we're not. It's deeper than that. We have got something that's so powerful in terms of business owners. I think going forward, you will see alongside the Life After Teaching, the Pit Pony and Connexus, I think this is going to become more of an educational movement than a tuition business. That's where I'm sat at the moment, and I'm bringing it together. I'm co-creating this with so many important people. But this is why the woman who sat around the kitchen table knew what her skill set was. I could move a kid up in English. I can also shape, change, and build communities. Fantastic. And that's where we're moving.
The future is bright, and it sounds very, very exciting. Sharon, I think we're going to leave it there because that is just awesome. And I think for anybody, looking at coming into the network, what a fantastic opportunity. In terms of what
it's all there for the taking. And I always end things, Simon, with the people who matter the most. We are so blessed. We are so blessed that our business, I could make a business work if I was an oven cleaner. I could make a business work if I was a dog walker, because I'm passionate about business. But can you imagine the gift that we have at Connexus to work with the very best of the next generation? You asked me about life-changing stories.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will never know the difference that we have made to individual kids, because we unlocked something one day in a church hall and they got it. The penny dropped. They went on to college, or they went to a university they never thought they could get into. We will never know the ripple effect that we have as educators. And I am proud of every single one of the teachers who are still working in schools, our tutors, our franchisees, because we really do get to work with the very best of us, which is the young people in the UK.
You're very, very lucky. Sharon, thank you so much indeed. I really appreciate it. And as I said, I wasn't expecting to be your host today, but I'm glad I have, because
I don't mind an intimate dinner for two. Harvey was third wheeling anyway. He's not as good looking as you, Simon, but don't tell him.
Well, the thing is, you see, with me, you probably get a McDonald's drive-through, and Harvey is a bit more.
Hey, listen, I'm from the northwest of England. A bag of chips will do me. I'm not forced.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Sharon. Thank you so much.
Very
and
welcome.
We'll put a little QR code up on the screen so people can share their thoughts with us there as well. But thank you very much for your time, and thank you for sharing your wonderful story. And
you're incredibly welcome.
Until we meet again. Bye-bye.
Yes, sober. Bye-bye.
See ya. Whoops. Hello?
Hello.
I think then. Oh, hang on.
Oh, don't end up with a blue